I wanted to talk about the whole iPhone versus Android situation and how there's always a massive argument about which is better, iPhone or Android. With the iPhone 15 coming out pretty soon, those arguments are going to come back round. And I think it's a reflection of like a lot of life in where there is a choice and a preference for the individual, but there is also like two huge groups who represent either side, and they are the extremists. And those extremists will always tell the other side of why their choice is wrong and how it's not good for whatever reason, or how you steal this off of us, so therefore we did it first, we did it better. And it's really confusing because obviously the choice to have either or should come down to the individual. It's your choice if you want to have an iPhone, it's your choice if you want to have an Android. But I think there's certain age groups that are heavily influenced by their friends or their peers, or whatever it is that's around them that leads them and influences them. And it's something that I find really interesting in the respects that it costs a lot of money this day and age. So I come from a time way back when a mobile phone used to have like a little orange backlit screen, and it used to be black pixels. It didn't have no games. It didn't have internet connection, but it did later on, which is what they used to call WAP, interestingly enough. I can't remember what it stands for, but it doesn't stand for what it stands for now. I know that much. And it was all pixels. It was all pixels. So if you wanted to, like, you look at an image on the internet back in the day, it was just loads of black dot pixels to make up an image. And then you fast forward a few years, it's not even that much, which is the scary thing. And then it becomes a massive, like, you have to pick a side. You have to have this or you have to have this. And if you don't have this one, this team's going to get really angry at you for taking that one. Or if you don't have this one, this team's going to get really angry at you for taking that one. And it's a debate that really makes no sense. And I suppose when you listen to the kids talk about it, it's kind of scary that they are judged on the mobile phone that they carry. And to a point you hear it, I think it's on iPhone, where if you are texted by an Android user, like the text bubble's a different color or something, like green, or it should be blue, or whatever it is. And the amount of kids that get bullied because of that is crazy. Because it comes from a side of finances and affordability. And obviously, to have the latest iPhone, to have the latest Samsung, it does cost stupid money. It costs over $1,000 or pounds if you buy the phone outright. Or if you get a monthly contract, it's usually, the upper end of the scale, like 60, 70, 80 towards the 100. I'd like to hope as adults, most of us can kind of see how dumb that is, and hopefully we understand that you don't have to have the latest and greatest. You don't have to keep up with the Joneses. If you want to buy an iPhone 15, knock yourself out, buy an iPhone 15. At the end of the day, it's your money. I suppose this is my personal, as everything else, my personal view on it is, if you're going to spend over £1,000 or dollars this year round, why are you then going to go do the same thing like in 12 months' time? It doesn't really make sense to me. That it seems to be the one thing off the top of my head that we buy that costs, a good chunk of money, that we're forever trying to chase the highest one. So we're always trying to have the latest and greatest and the most expensive one, like it matters. I don't know. I suppose that's a reflection, I guess, on how I've been brought up around money, in that whilst I agree, I have a Note 9, and when I bought this Note 9, it cost me over $1,000. It's now coming up to being 6 years old. I have no rhyme or reason to get rid of it, and I won't get rid of it until either Android stops updating it so I can't use the apps that I use, like mainly banking apps. Don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about gaming apps here, I'm talking about banking apps and stuff that I use it for. Or until it just dies, until I kill it. There's literally no reason for me to buy another phone. And I respect people who are like that. But I am confused by people who will get this latest iPhone 15, and then in whatever it will be, or 6 months time, when they release like an iPhone 15 Pro Max Plus thing, they'll get that one. And then another 6 months time, there's another one, they get that one. And then another 12 months time, there's the iPhone 16 or whatever, and then they get that one. And it's like constantly trying to chase value like it's a status thing. And it's a reflection, I feel, on how the shift has gone in the world towards materialistic things and how we are our possessions in a way. People don't see us for who we are, the characters that we are, our personalities or whatever else. They see us for the cars we drive, the phones we have, the houses that we live in. I think it's something that you can easily see a lot more when it comes to new mobile phones, because that debate is always there, because there's such a, Android versus iPhone debate. If you take a step back, you're arguing over two devices that cost similar prices, and you're saying whose is better. Like, in all honesty, neither of them, because they're stupidly expensive. And like I say that from a position of somebody who bought one that was arguably stupidly expensive. I think the times have gone where you didn't need a mobile phone, and that was a beauty of sort of my adolescence or my childhood, whichever way it goes, is that we didn't have these things. And that still amazes me to say, even to today, we didn't have Bluetooth, we didn't have wireless, we didn't have cell phones. And I'm only in my 30s. It makes it sound like it was a long time ago, like a long, long time ago. But we're now at a point where you are judged on if you don't have the latest and greatest, and it's crazy. I say it's weird. It's more like I say the younger folks, and you hear it when they're walking home from school, and such has this phone. And it's like there's like little bullying about it, I hope that there is a time when people realize that material possessions don't make you who you are, and I think that is probably a problem caused by sort of various different influences. In that, I suppose, I get it's a status thing, isn't it? You see these influencers and their status, and it seems like they are kind of high and mighty, and look at me, I'm a, you know what I mean? Like, they have wealth, and when you have wealth, you have the latest and greatest stuff because you can afford it, and therefore it's like a projection of, I am wealthy because I have this, and therefore if you have this, then you are wealthy too. I don't know. I think when it comes to the way that I've been brought up about money and stuff, it's a very weird situation anyway. So when you look around and you see people who won't even think twice about throwing a month's worth of wage at a phone, it's just like, I don't know. It's confusing. It is confusing, but kids, the youngsters out there, it's something that I feel so detached to, in what influences them to feel that they have to make those purchases. What is their influence in this day and age? Because it wasn't there when I was growing up. Obviously, we didn't have the internet, so you don't see half this stuff. What you see is what's in the world around you. So, you see bloke down the road. It's usually a builder. He's got the most money. He's driving around in a beat-up van, and yeah, he's probably got a decent watch. That was all it was when we were kids. And nowadays, it's like flash cars, big watches, latest designer gear, most expensive phone, biggest mansion with a pool, helicopter, private jet. I don't know. But I suppose that's easily to be seen now because of the way that the world communicates with each other. It's very, I don't know, I find it very interesting.